find that the character design, something about both the shape but also the color palette, there's a huge contrast between the terrain texture and the character texture, and it really helps to make things stand out. Now, it does mean that those games, especially League of Legends, of course, but also Dodo to a lesser extent, have a fairly cartoonish feel. In that things are a little more stylized, and the colors are slightly more flat and less detailed. Like, if you zoom in on these characters, there's a lot of stuff going on here. And it's a little less so in those other games. Again, especially in League of Legends, but it means it's easier, it's higher contrast, easier to keep track. And so the question is both, like, you know, are we having a hard time spotting our characters in Han because we played those other games? Or would we have those hard times regardless? And I know that some people who have never played this type of game before, this Dota-like game before, who did come into Han, have had a hard time seeing their characters. Now, the more you play, the more you get used to it, the more your eyes adjust. I had the same problem in League of Legends when I started it there, but I felt that it was easier to overcome. It's one of the reasons I started playing Blitzcrank for a long time in League, because he stands out like a crazy person. He is huge, he's considerably wider than everyone, he's a robot, he's a ridiculously different color scheme in that he's all like sort of a bronzy metallic, and it just makes it a lot easier to track my character, and that's one of the reasons I started playing him so much. But beyond blaming the games, part of it could simply be that I think I'm getting older and I'm slowing down. My brain is literally just not processing things at the same speed as it used to, and that this is a result of it. I'm having a hard time keeping up in these really dynamic segments, and it's a little disturbing. Luckily for me, I was always a big fan of strategy games, so that helps a lot in that I'm not going to need my lightning quick reflexes, rather, in those games. But I still would like to be better at Han, because I love the gameplay. Ironically enough, I don't like the competition aspect of it that much. What I really like is the farming and the building items and pushing bases, because again, it has those strategic elements that I really like, has those RPG elements that I really like. The competition is fine, but like that's one of the reasons you won't ever see me doing like 1 versus 1, because no, I don't want to do that. Like, I got nothing to prove. Screw that. And part of the reason I'm also very happy just playing support. Although, one of my big complaints about playing support is I don't get to have as much stuff as everyone else. I like stuff. I like building things. That's one of the reasons I like this game. I like leveling up. Well, listen, you're playing pure support where you're going to die a lot and not getting a lot of kills. You're not going to level up as often. You're not going to have as much stuff. So that's unfortunate. But other than that, there's not the same pressure to sort of being able to pick out people and just sort of 1 versus 1 them the same way. Still, you know, Emerald Warden, pretty easy mode. The fact that I don't have to target that Hunter's Command is just sick. Not to mention my my passive ultimate. And Amun-Ra is going to get a kill, or someone's going to get a kill rather, there. And it looks like it's going to be okay. In fact, looks like they're going to pick off Cthulhu as well, who is absolutely the best named character in the other game. Silhouette is going to be able to TP out of there though. And looks like we're just going to push this wave back. This game, we are 20 minutes into the game, and you could hardly be any closer. 9 to 10, very little difference in gold and XP, with the Legion, the bad guys, having a slight advantage, despite being behind on kills, because they are... I don't know. We have more towers. We have more towers down and 1 more kill down. Oh, no, we are slightly ahead. My bad, I'm reading this wrong. We are slightly ahead. Alright. But just freaking barely. And it does help that most of our gold is really weighted towards our carry types. And they have slightly, like, look at the fact. Their Dimension Shaman has a lot of money. And it would be interesting to go back in a replay and just watch that lane and see if he was taking more last hits than were really sensible. Let's take a look at the stats. I know there's like combat going on. It's like the worst time to look at this. Yeah, creep kills on the Legion side. He has 58. The only person with more creep kills than him is Kronos. And that's not ideal. I'm not sure what that top lane was. Well, Silhouette was middle, so I'm going to assume... Well, I don't know. I'm going to assume he wasn't in the lane with Kronos. So he was either in the lane with Valkyrie or with Cthulhu, both of which could have probably used more last hits than the Dimension Shaman. So that's not ideal. And he has his boots set to agility? What? Does he really want armor and attack speed that badly? I'm honestly confused. So for those of you who don't know, these boots... God, I've lost him. There he is. These steam boots, which you can buy in Han, you build them and then you can toggle them between... So they always give you a movement speed boost because they're boots. They always give you an attack speed boost. In addition to that, they give you +10 to a stat, and by clicking on it, you can toggle what stat it's giving you. So strength is... So there's two modes you're generally going to want it in. You're either going to want it to be in the right mode based on your character's attribute. If you're an intelligence-based hero, you're going to want to have it set on intelligence so that it increases your auto attack damage. It helps you farm. Also, it gives you extra mana and mana regen. Like, it would always give you that, right? If you're an agility-based hero, you want it on agility because it increases your auto attack damage. And no matter what, it will always increase your attack speed and armor. And if you're a strength hero, you're going to want it on strength because it increases your damage. But it also increases hit points and health regen for everyone, no matter what. So you usually are going to see this, for example, on a character like the Demented Shaman. You're going to see it either intelligence when he's farming, or strength when there's some fighting going on. There's almost no reason whatsoever DS should have it on agility, as far as I am aware of. So that is kind of a flaw. For someone who's so good at last hitting, I wouldn't have expected that. Major Totem is a perfectly normal item because it builds into a couple of different other things, such as the Astrolabe, I think. But that's not the alone. I think Nom's Wisdom as well. Where's the shop? Give me the shop. Totem. Oh no, Tablet of Command is what I was thinking on, not Astrolabe. Tablet of Command and Gnome's Wisdom. It's also there for Energizer, but I don't think that's particularly common item to pick up. So it is nice because it gives you all the stats, and it's not even that expensive. At 540, it is hugely affordable, which is very nice when you're playing a support type person. And Silhouette is almost certainly going to go down here. Nice little grab there. Ooh, nice split into an illusion, and it actually manages to survive. What is this sorcery? Ooh, Nymphora is in some trouble, and he's probably going to die unless I'm able to put enough damage down on Kronos to force him back. In fact, he does turn around and walks into an Overgrowth. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen, a successful use of Overgrowth. I'm as surprised as you are, and here I am applying the beats on Cthulhu, because if I have a choice of people to shoot, I should obviously shoot the big elephant-looking guy and not the little guy, clearly. Although, hit point-wise, 1,300... Oh no, DS is far fewer hit points. Although he'd have a little bit more if he switched over to strength, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. And my Gawain hits, auto attack hits, and finally, just enough mana. Finally, I remember waiting for that to pick up my W so that I could get my easy mode kill. And how am I doing at this point? I am 7-0-4. Yeah, that's right. I'm flexing at the camera. I'm so macho and awesome. And obviously, the whole team is doing fairly well, although again, look at these stats, XP wise and gold wise. Like our lead is expanding, but this is not particularly relevant. There's no way to get total gold, huh? Because that would be nice, just an actual total, how much gold the team has farmed overall. Because this to me looks, it's probably less than 10%, and less than 10% difference almost literally doesn't matter. At this point, this is all still just about positioning and team fighting. If we're coordinating better than them. Now, at a certain point, also has to do with team composition. But I'm not convinced that either team sort of has an overwhelmingly better or worse composition. None of us went with like, well, it was single draft, right? So you have a limited set of options at your disposal. But I don't think any of us rolled like a huge collection of overpowered characters. Emerald Warden is overpowered in that he's too easy to play. But other than that, Nymphora is really strong too, though. She's someone I really need to learn to play. I think she was coming into Ward. Well, yeah, there's the Ward there. Alas, the fate of a support. Uh-oh. I'm in a little bit of trouble too. Nope, we'll push her back. In fact, Chrono's taking a lot of damage. My wolves are on cooldown, which is a darn shame. You were leaping back in, really? Oh, you've got your ultimate up. Nice heal there, thank you. And yet I died. But Kronos does go down thanks to a nice little powder keg. I believe that's the ability. Or the keg. The kegger. Corrupted Disciple is going to do his best to chase down Cthulhu, who does have that awesome charge move. And he is really cool. At some point I'm going to have to play him just because the cool factor is really high. But Briarstone likes to play Cthulhu Font a lot, and he does well with him. I'm not going to say he's like the greatest character in the game. Ooh, Amon-Ra barely getting away from there. But, you know, when you get someone who... And really, at our skill level, it doesn't really matter who you're playing, as long as you're good at playing that person. That's all that matters, because the noomishness factor is so high that what matters is good implementation. Now, you still need a good team composition and whatever, but I'm saying if you're not picking the top tier carry, you're picking the third tier carry, but you're good with him, that can overcome anything. It's only at the very sort of highest level, really at any plateau, I suppose, where everyone is at the relatively same skill level, which is not the case, despite what the MMR rating does. But, so yeah, the people at the very top, then it really starts to matter exactly what your team composition is. Well, no, team composition always matters, but then it starts to matter a lot more picking the absolute most overpowered heroes at any given point. Then again, some people are just known for playing certain heroes, and if that hero doesn't get banned and they pick it, even if it's not a god tier hero, they tend to do pretty well with it. So I guess I'm proving one point and disproving my other point all at the same time. Boy, I'm good at arguing with myself. So the point is, play people you're really good at. See if you can't learn 2 or 3 heroes really, really well and try to pick them as often as possible. At some point, you do have to branch out. At this point, I do branch out a little bit more. I have more than 2 or 3. I don't play Andromeda very often, but I still think she's quite good, and I enjoy playing her. Plague Rider, obviously. I do have Polywog Priest in my repertoire now. I've had some really, really good games with them, and I find them very enjoyable to play. I still like Demented Shaman. You know, the first guy I ever played in Han is still up there. I don't play him very often, but I really, really like him, and I've played him more recently. Now that I've just gotten better at like reading what's going to happen in terms of team fights and using my ult, I've gotten some really, really good sort of performance out of Demented Shaman. And then there's Witchslayer, who is like, I actually avoid him in terms that he just seems too good. It's like, oh, fine, I guess I'll play Witchslayer, I guess I'll have double stun, huge, like, kill ultimate. I mean, to me, it's like, Polywog Priest is kind of like Plague Rider Light, or not Plague Rider, it's kind of like Witchslayer Light. He's similar in that he's got the 2 disables, and he does have a pretty strong ultimate, but he's not quite as ridiculously powerful. I guess when you see a good Witchslayer who just owns it up in the laning phase, that's what's sick. Late game, you know, they're still not going to scale up the same way as a carry, but early game they can do so much, and they're such good gankers. I just find Polywog more interesting for some reason, which is dumb. I do really have fun when I play Witchslayer, but it's because I feel he's too good. I guess it's the AoE stun. Like, what the hell, man? It's not single target, it's AoE. That is just ridiculous. Who else? I'm trying to think. Played Armadon a few times, and I'm not good with him yet, but it's someone I feel that I could get good with. But he's someone I generally only like to play when I'm playing with people on Skype or something like that with a lot of coordination, because I am still not at the point where I read the game well enough to really initiate things. So at this point, let's do a quick score check. 9, 1, and 7. Okay, I did die once already. I didn't actually talk about it, but I remember like dying. It was completely unnecessary when I did die, and I was so disappointed because it ruined this otherwise beautiful, beautiful streak that I was on. So at this point, our lead is definitely extending. The fact that they've got naked barracks, even if we don't get them down at this point, is a very, very strong positional advantage. And of course, we just have more money and more XP at this point. And at this point, it's starting to become like relatively significant. If the money has been split evenly, then we all have over 1,000 gold individually over everyone else, and that's a pretty significant item. And then when you consider the fact that it's concentrated heavily in Amon-Ra, who's got 465 farm right now, that is sick. So he's gonna have, well, he's got his Behemoth's Heart and lots of defensive items. Holy cow, he's so tanky. And I've got a fair amount of it too. I do have my Frostburn now, so my DPS is good. I'm still relatively squishy, only 1252 HP, which is not very much at this point. Did the game end? Uh-oh. There we go! Thought it was going to be a crash. I can actually hear my hard drive grinding in the background. That's a bad, bad sign. Hopefully everything continues to be okay with this recording. We shall find out. Gonna find out like sound just went out of sync by like 10 seconds. Oh god, that's so frustrating. It's really hard to correct by hand too. Especially if the sync isn't just like a one-time event, but it's just like, whoa, we are still really slow and laggy. But it's like a gradual greater and greater desyncing. You know what? I think I'm actually gonna have to end this replay. I'm thinking that my hard drive might be full or very close to it. At this point, it's probably a safe assumption to say that we win. I'm thinking it's probably a game where I won. Yeah, a little trash talking. But like, they're complaining about Raw, and it's like, yeah, I'm 10-1, and then at some point, I'm pretty sure I speak up and mention about how ridiculous the easy mode. Wow, this is... what is going on here? Hopefully we're okay. Let me, oof. That's... sorry about this, guys. Let me just check that my hard drives are okay in terms of space. It's pretty full, but we should be able to finish. I think that's why it's slowing down, though. I have a 2 terabyte hard drive, and I have, like, a few gigs left free. As a percentage, that's pretty poor. There's probably a lot of fragmentation. I probably just have to delete a lot of videos that I've already uploaded but never cleared off. Yeah, pretty sure a dead guy could play Emerald Warden. Yeah, that is, there's like no doubt about it. So easy mode. No skill needed whatsoever. I'm over 300 GPM now just because I can hit W and let my bird hit things from time to time. I mean, it's fine. The fact that he has a relatively low skill ceiling doesn't mean that he's overpowered or broken or needs a fix necessarily. I don't think EW sees a lot of play in the very highest brackets, simply because I don't think that once you get to the point where the skill ceiling matters, I don't think he's the same strength. But in solo queuing like this, he's pretty good because he's hard to screw up. I guess that's the thing. At the lower brackets, it's less about how good you can be with someone, and more about... You're not an illusion, are you? What's going on here? I don't know. Wow, what a weird... Like, Shaman is here, Silhouette is here, Raw is there. What is going on? Well, looks like we're going to just open up on Silhouette and discover that, yeah, that's a real person. Like, alright, sure, fine, that's okay. So we'll kill you and then we'll take Kong. Seems fine. I don't remember if I finished my thought, but lower skill, it's more about who makes the fewest gross mistakes. Higher skill, it's more about you're going to make less gross mistakes. So it's more about finding out how to work every little advantage as much as possible. And if you do make a mistake, it's actually probably the end of the game at that point. And, oh! So Kronos comes in, initiates on us. What's this rest of his team doing? I think there was a lack of communication there because they could have done a lot to us, except they didn't go in very coordinated. They also don't have a lot of mana. Like, Valkyrie's pretty low. It's pretty stunning. God, Amon-Ra can just, like, go forever. He's got so many hit points is the problem. And he's been fed a lot, which is why he's got so many items, which is why he's got so many hit points. So he's in pretty good shape. And he's going to get taken down here. And come back up. And get some more kills. Because why not, right? God, this guy. He's so frustrating to play against. And that's the end of the game. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed seeing me play and talk